When they talk about toxic masculinity, what they're really saying is a real man who knows his purpose, who has self-esteem, who has balls, is a threat to the agenda of the trillionaires of this world, the George Soroses. What I mean by remasculation. The word re, or the prefix re, implies that it is something that's either lost and has to be restored, or probably in all actuality has never been truly found. It did exist at one point, from the days of the cavemen, roughly into the 1950s. After that, something happened, and people got confused about a lot of things. People got confused about masculinity. Feminism was created by, without getting into tinfoil territory here, was created by men. Men who actually admitted to it. I will not mention the Rockefellers here at this point, but let it just suffice, we know exactly where it has its providence. Feminism in this country, the United States of America, was introduced by one Gloria Steinem. The company you keep. She was the lover of one Henry Kissinger, a luminary of freedom and democracy. Or was he? Gloria Steinem, a very attractive woman, also a psychopath of untold proportion, and ice cold like the Snow Queen, admitted to having received millions of dollars, in today's money, dozens of millions of dollars, from one Central Intelligence Agency, Clowns in America, as we call them affectionately these days, for the purpose of essentially destroying this country, the world, and masculinity. Why is this important? Because today, when I walk through the streets of America, and much more so, to about 10 times that degree through the streets of Europe, Germany, Britain, France, I see weakness, I see confusion, I see checked outness, I see eyes that are essentially empty like a shark's, but without the purpose of a shark. At least a shark has purpose. A shark knows what he wants, and he doesn't apologize for that. Men today feel like they have to apologize, justify themselves. Now, why is this? Why would you justify for something you just are? Men are demonized. Men are confused. If you look at television, movies, you realize you're dealing with an agenda. You're dealing with an agenda by some globalist elites to divide and conquer. The principle of Machiavelli, divide and conquer. If everybody's united, it's like taking 100 matchsticks. You can't break them very easily. You take each one. It's very simple, very easy. So if I want to control a society, if I want to dominate a society, if I want to destroy civilization for gains of my own power, what do? I pit everyone into dualism, dialectic. This versus that, good versus evil, day versus night, man against woman, old against young, rich against poor. The haves against the have-nots. We talk about the 1% people. And those become our enemies. But actually, the people that instituted all this stuff are not 1%ers. They're 1% of 1% of 1%, also known as 1 in a million, roughly, if I did the math correctly. The ultra-rich, that tell you the rich need to be paying taxes while they don't. They talk about masculinity as something evil, bad. We need a new masculinity. I want to remember the woke Gillette commercials of 2019, but go woke, go broke. And there they talked about toxic masculinity. They were pissing, essentially, on men. And they also lost $60 billion in the process, thank God. But they don't care. They don't care about money. They have more money than God. They care about an agenda. And when they talk about toxic masculinity, What they're really saying is a real man who knows his purpose, who has self-esteem, who has balls, is a threat to the agenda of the trillionaires of this world, the George Soroses, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all those people who want to destroy America, the world, and men. They don't want to just destroy men, they want to destroy women just as soon. They tell you, feminism tells women, it's not okay to be a woman, as if true femininity was weakness. So you have essentially very masculine types of women telling other women they shouldn't behave in a feminine way, but in a masculine way, which means women then try to be something they're not, which automatically puts them out of their power curve, puts them in a zone where they have no place of being, namely masculinity. So you're telling women to be masculine, to shun their femininity, and to compete with men. What could possibly go wrong? Well, what could possibly go wrong is what we have now for the last 50 years or so. Since the 60s, 50s, we have divorce rates approaching 50%, sometimes exceeding them. Half the so-called men, second generation at this point, are raised by women. Now, how could a woman possibly teach a man about masculinity? They don't have the balls, and thank God they don't have balls, but they act like they do. How is this going to help anyone? How is it going to help you? Then you find that in society you don't find the kind of women you really want. You don't find feminine women. You find women that have left and abdicated their femininity, just like men have abdicated their masculinity. There's nothing left. You don't have any power if you don't draw upon the roots of that. I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and I've been doing a lot of research. I've interviewed literally hundreds of men and thousands of women on masculinity, femininity, what they want, what they're missing, what creates attraction. Every quality woman I've ever talked to has confessed, even if they make $10 million a year, even if they're like captains of industry, have confessed to me that they would give it all up if they could only find a real man that they could look up to.